Local junior hockey teams hitting the ice for training camp. Darrell Knight, The Standard. The weather may say it's still summer, but the action on the ice is heating up for the local Provincial Junior Hockey League, PJHL teams. The Uxbridge Bruins, Port Perry Lumberjacks, and Little Britain Merchants all open their training camps this week, ahead of the 2024-25 PJHL season. With all three teams lacking ice in their home arenas, at this time of year, the three clubs will all take up temporary residence at other local rinks this week. The Bruins will start with a series of skates this week in Whitby, before shifting to Stouffville, before ice is installed in Uxbridge ahead of the Labor Day weekend. Port Perry opens their training camp at Campus Ice Centre in Oshawa, while the Merchants will be skating in Lindsay. This week will see the Bruins take the trek to Wasaga Beach to tangle with the Stainer Siskins. Meanwhile, the Merchants will be on the road on Friday night against the Innisfil Spartans. At 7 p.m. on Saturday night, the Shopkeepers will host the Lumberjacks in Lindsay. The Lumberjacks are set for a busy weekend, with a pair of games on Saturday, an afternoon matchup in Peterborough against the Lakefield Chiefs, before the aforementioned game in Lindsay against Little Britain. On Sunday, the Lumberjacks travel to Aurelia for a 7 p.m. matchup against the Terriers. All of the local teams have been busy recruiting and making trades over the summer, with an eye on competing for the Cougar Cup as champions of the Orr Division this season. Beaver River Bridge Replacement Project advances in Beaverton. Darrell Knight, The Standard. Brock. The Beaver River Bridge Replacement Project is progressing steadily, with several key developments taking place in Beaverton. The existing bridge has been successfully removed, marking a significant milestone in the ongoing construction efforts. As part of the preparation for the new bridge, the approach embankments for the temporary bridge are currently being widened. This work is essential to support the installation of a temporary structure, which will facilitate traffic flow during the construction of the permanent bridge. In the coming weeks, hydro relocations will be carried out to enable the removal of the remaining foundations of the old bridge. These relocations are also necessary for the construction of the temporary bridge, which is now in the fabrication stage. Both the temporary and permanent bridges are currently in the design phase. Engineers and planners are working diligently to ensure new structures meet all necessary standards and specifications. To this end, approvals for the temporary bridge are being sought from the Lake Simcoe Region Conservation Authority, LSRCA, and the Ontario Ministry of Transportation, MTO. The replacement of the Beaver River Bridge is a critical infrastructure project for Beaverton, aimed at improving safety and ensuring the long-term reliability of this important crossing. Local residents and travelers are advised to stay updated on the project's progress and any potential traffic disruptions as work continues.
Local artist wildcard entry in Boots and Hearts Festival. J. Molinas, The Standard. Durham. Josh McCabe grew up in Port Perry, attended R.H. Cornish Public School and Port Perry High School, graduating in 2005. He started playing guitar and drums in church, at what is now known as Emmanuel Community Church, when he was about 10 or 11 years old. Josh grew up playing music in a youth group there, learning how to sing and play guitar. We used to do these youth events and concerts there when I was in high school, said Josh. After graduating high school, he went on tour with a band selling t-shirts. It was an excellent opportunity to learn how the industry works. He did that for about 8 months before joining a band called Hello Kelly as their drummer. That influenced me to learn more about my craft and how to put on events, work with sound systems, lighting, and all the technical stuff, explained Josh. Josh got to go on tour all over North America, visiting almost every state and playing shows for audiences ranging from 3,000 to sometimes 30 people. After a while, he got tired of touring all the time and being on the road. He ended up settling down and taking a job at a church in Ajax. Josh traveled from Port Perry to Ajax, working at C4 Church, now Sanctus Church. He and his sister started a band together, playing church music for some time. They were doing a lot with their age group, young adults, and college students. They traveled extensively for a while, and it was at this time Josh felt he stepped into his own as a singer and songwriter. Following that season, he got married and moved to Whitby. He has 2 children, a daughter, Adelaide, who is 12, and son, London, who is 10. Both of them were born at Lakeridge Health, Port Perry. That was the most exciting, fun, and memorable moment of my life, meeting my wife, getting married, and welcoming our 2 amazing kids, he stated. It was around the birth of his son, Josh started writing songs which told stories. He explained it felt more like country songs. In 2014, he released an album called Caves and performed in Toronto at the Air Canada Centre, which is Scotiabank Arena now, as well as several other arenas around North America, all to support the album. That journey and the name of the band, Caves, came from a burnout season he went through in 2013. At this point, he left his job at the church and took a year sabbatical. During the year off, they lived with their parents in Port Perry, where he spent time recalibrating. That's where the songs for Caves came from. They moved to Nashville, Tennessee in 2017 and lived there for a few years while touring and traveling with Caves. It was excellent for our family. I was doing a lot of songwriting down there and made a lot of great relationships, he explained. Then, in 2020, the pandemic hit and all touring stopped. Josh then had 30 days on the calendar canceled all at once, which was a complete shock. When that happened, he started reconsidering living in the United States. They missed Canada, missed their families, and ended up settling in Guelph, Ontario, where he shifted things to a country rock genre. They released a single on country radio called Where I Wanna Be, which was also picked up by SiriusXM. Caves ended up winning the Burlington Sound of Music Festival, the Emerging Artist Battle of the Bands, and playing on the main stage there in 2023. This summer, they released a new single called High on the Moment, which Josh wrote about his wife and how it felt so much like they were dating just yesterday. Oh, how fast time goes by. Josh remembers having several jobs in Port Perry. My first job was delivering papers, which I did when I was 12. When I was 13 or 14, I got a job at the Piano Inn and Cafe, which was brand new then. I have many fond memories of working in the town and being part of the Port Perry culture. I'm excited. On Saturday, September 21st, we're going to be playing at the Winding Roads Festival with Steve Lee Olson in Port Perry, he said. It will be the first time in a while he has had the opportunity to play in Port Perry with the whole band. They have also been named the wild card entry to the Country Music Festival Boots and Hearts through the Emerging Artist Competition. For more information about Josh McCabe and the band, go to their website at thebandcaves.com. or find more on their Instagram and Facebook accounts at The Band Caves.
Draft Lake Dalrymple Management Plan to be presented at Open House. Kawartha Lakes. The public is invited to attend the Lake Dalrymple Management Plan Open House on Thursday, August 22nd from 7 to 8:30 p.m. and on Saturday, August 24th from 10 to 11:30 a.m. at the Cardan Recreation Center. Kawartha Conservation aquatic biologist Brett Tregano will present the key findings from the first draft of the Lake Dalrymple Management Plan. We are excited to share the key findings from our research and to hear the public's thoughts, said Mr. Tregano. We are looking forward to hearing the public's suggestions and feedback for the successful implementation of the plan's recommendations and to hear firsthand from the lake residents and users if there are opportunities for improvement. In 2021, Kawartha Conservation's Integrated Watershed Management (IWM) team launched the first of a 4-year plan to gather critical water quality data and connect with community members and lake residents to better understand the current condition of Lake Dalrymple. Those efforts have culminated in the development of the Lake Dalrymple Watershed Characterization Report. The 4-year project concludes in 2024 with the completed Characterization Report and Lake Management Plan. So IWM staff will be looking to connect with more members of the Lake Dalrymple community and use their feedback to help guide the implementation of the recommendations outlined in the Lake Dalrymple Management Plan. Whether you live, work, or play on Lake Dalrymple, we want to hear your feedback, biologist Brett Tregano emphasized. Join us at the Cardan Recreation Center on Thursday, August 22nd or Saturday, August 24th to discover the results from our research and to share your voice in order to assure the health of Lake Dalrymple for years to come. Those interested can also provide their feedback online until September 15th. The Cardan Recreation Centre address is 258 Lake Dalrymple Road, Seabright, Ontario, LOK 1WO. To learn more about the Lake Dalrymple Management Plan, visit the Lake Dalrymple page on the Kawartha Conservation website at kawarthaconservation.com/Lake Dalrymple.
Welcome to You've Got to Be Kidding, a podcast that offers a different perspective of life around us. Listen now to author Jonathan van Bilsen.
Whenever people travel, there is inevitably the unexpected that happens. This was the case when I went to Montreal last weekend. The drive, albeit 6 hours, was pleasant, especially considering the beautiful weather. I booked the same hotel I usually do in Montreal, as it's located on Boulevard René Lévesque, right downtown. Walking along St. Catherine Street is always fun, and strolling along the restaurants on Crescent Street gave me some ideas for meals. I ended up in Old Montreal and enjoyed a lovely dinner at Auberge Le Saint-Gabriel, the first establishment in Canada to receive a liquor license. A quick Uber back to the hotel and I was sound asleep in minutes. I awoke Sunday morning and glanced out the window to see 2 police cruisers, lights flashing, blocking the road. My first thought was there was an accident, but after a few minutes I saw a truck pulling a float, so I assumed it was a parade or demonstration. After a hearty breakfast, I drove to visit St. Joseph's Oratory, the largest church in Canada, and quite an amazing structure. After an enjoyable visit, I returned to downtown Montreal. That's when things began to happen. I drove down Rue de la Montagne towards the hotel, only to find it had been closed by police. It seems it was Montreal Pride and the parade had started. I explained how my hotel was on that street, but that somewhat sympathetic officer said there was little he could do. I asked how long the parade would be, and he said until 4 p.m. I glanced at my watch. It was only 11. He instructed me to turn my car around, travel up a one-way street and along an alleyway to the next block. Traffic was jammed and nothing was moving except the people on foot. I saw a sign for a parking garage and decided to leave my car there. After walking the length of St. Catherine Street and back, I made my way to Boulevard René Lévesque, waited for a gap in the parade and ran across the road, making my way back to the hotel. It was now 3 p.m. and the parade was still going strong. I was hoping to get back to my car before 7, as that's when the garage closed. The weather was great and the festivities were fun. So as the old saying goes, if life throws you lemons, make lemonade. I'm Jonathan van Bilsen, and this is You've Got to Be Kidding.
You've Got to Be Kidding was presented by X4 Media with permission from the Standard Media Group. We endeavor to make all information contained in this program as accurate as possible at production time. X4 Media and the Standard Media Group are not responsible for any liabilities resulting from information contained in this program. For more information, please visit x4media.ca.
The Standard Podcast was produced by Greenstream Studio for the Standard newspaper.